was, and continues to be, that this Shapell roster of Jewish service in the American Civil War, both the database itself and its contributions to this book, would become the de facto touchstone in this field of study. In 2017, Adam Mendelsohn was selected to author 2 books on Jewish Civil War soldiers and sailors, this first volume on the Union and the second on the Confederacy. Mendelsohn's expertise in 19th century American Jewish history, as is evidenced by his previous works, Jews and the Civil War, A Reader, and The Rag Race, How Jews Sowed Their Way to Success in America and the British Empire, as well as his engaging and thought-provoking prose, made Mendelsohn an ideal match for the work of interpreting and contextualizing the roster data. The volume you are now reading is a result of the Shapell Manuscript Foundation and Adam Mendelsohn's fruitful and ongoing collaboration. This book illustrates the endless possibilities for reimagining and reinterpreting American Jewish history in light of information extracted from hundreds of thousands of paper and digitized documents reviewed by the Foundation's research team over the course of the last decade. As this work is ongoing, the Shapell roster continues to expand with new discoveries, updated service histories, and more documents. We hope this book, and access to the database, will engage and inspire a diverse audience to produce fresh narratives, bringing the past into the present. The historical record bears witness to the lives of those resilient individuals who shared a collective experience. Whether first-generation immigrants or native by birth, they experienced acceptance as Americans first and Jews second. The ever-persistent specter of anti-Semitism had not quite taken hold in America as firmly as it had elsewhere in the world. But make no mistake, 19th-century American Jews endured difficulties in many forms, including but not limited to ignorant and baseless stereotypes and, in one notorious case in 1862, even expulsion from their homes. And yet they enlisted and served in a war not of their making, some heroically and valiantly, almost in spite of the resistance they encountered. They embraced the opportunity to pursue secular aspirations without abandoning their heritage. The most oft-asked question about Jews in the American Civil War is, how many? It is understandable, given the genesis of the American Jew as patriot, soldier, and citizen, why the answer matters. In trying to address this question, Wolfe unintentionally created an arbitrary standard by which any subsequent accounting would be judged. In reality, more than 400 names were duplicates, and at least 800 were definitely not Jewish. Simultaneously, Wolfe overlooked more than 1,300 servicemen and counting verified as being Jewish. Yet after spending more than a decade immersed in the lives of the Jewish soldiers who wore blue and gray, our response to how many is that the answer tells us very little about the individual men, whereas more nuanced questions, like the ones pondered throughout this book, yield much more interesting answers. Adrian de Armas, Director, the Shapell Roster of Jewish Service in the American Civil War. Introduction. In May 1865, the editor of a Jewish newspaper in the Grand Duchy of Hesse summed up the epical conflict so recently ended across the Atlantic. Offering no mention of the surrender of Robert E. Lee's threadbare army at Appomattox Courthouse and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln the month before, he instead devoted his front page to other tidings from the front lines. In the American Army, he marveled, Catholics, Quakers, Jews, Methodists, and hundreds of sects stand peacefully side by side as they honor their God in their own ways freely and unchallenged. None had cause to hide their beliefs. The Quaker carries his Bible with him to the trenches and reads Psalms while under fire. The cannoneer operates his Armstrong artillery piece with the phylacteries strapped around his arm if he is Jewish, and carries the Madonna on his shako, cap, if he is Catholic. The account singled out one Jewish soldier, an immigrant from Central Europe, for bringing special honor to his people. Forced to ride into combat on the holy fast day of Yom Kippur,